Systematic suppression of talent in Canada. PhDs driving cabs, engineers who could not find jobs for decades. It's all true. The export economy that never needed brains. There's a quiet tragedy playing out across Canada's cities. One you've seen if you've taken a cab and found your driver has a PhD in physics or engineering. One that surfaces in the countless stories of newcomers and homegrown professionals alike, unable to land jobs matching their skills despite years, sometimes decades, of effort. This isn't a recent development, and it's not a coincidence. It's the result of a systemic approach. Canada never needed to produce mines because it didn't need to use them. In contrast to countries like the United States, Germany, Japan, or even South Korea, where value is created before it's exported, Canada's economic engine has for decades run on something simpler. Dig it, chop it, ship it. Oil, timber, minerals, wheat, exported raw, refined, processed and monetized elsewhere. And while the world bought Canada's nature, Canada didn't invest in cultivating or retaining its own human capital. It didn't have to. Talent was not a necessity, but a luxury. And worse, it was quietly surplus to requirements. The talent trap. Nobody talked about. This reliance on resource exports over innovation led to what can only be described as a talent trap. A surplus of educated, ambitious, qualified individuals for whom there was no matching demand. The result? Engineers applying for entry-level tech support jobs, medical doctors driving Ubers, scientists working as baristas, Canadian-born computer scientists migrating to the US just to do the work they trained for. This mismatch wasn't just bad luck, it was a structural feature. Because the economy wasn't geared toward building or innovating, it simply had no need for large-scale advanced talent deployment. Talent in Canada became decorative, a sign of a progressive society on paper, but one the economy never seriously intended to utilize. Immigration policies brought in highly skilled workers, while economic structures quietly ignored them. Universities pumped out degree holders, while industry shrugged. The disconnect was glaring, but long ignored, because money still flowed. Then came Trump. In 2016, a man many ridiculed for being brash and unrefined changed the terms of trade. Donald Trump's presidency marked a pivot point for North America. Behind the chaos, there was a clear message. The United States would prioritize domestic production over dependency on imports. It was more than protectionism. It was a reassertion of industrial sovereignty. And it was only the beginning. Subsequent policies, tariffs and reshoring efforts weren't a Trumpism. They were a Trump preview. Whether it's Biden's Inflation Reduction Act or future America First iterations, the direction is clear. Produce at home, reduce reliance on outside suppliers, even friendly ones. That includes Canada. And suddenly, the export economy north of the border was exposed. If your model depends on shipping raw resources to a neighbor who no longer wants or needs them, what happens? You shrink. Fast. No more cake, only crackers. The pie is shrinking, and not metaphorically. Budget cuts, layoffs, hiring freezes, and shrinking job markets are now hitting even the previously untouched sectors. Those who thought their roles were secure because they worked in government, academia, or healthcare are discovering that Canada's post-export reality is harsher than expected. And there's no new industry waiting in the wings. There was no real manufacturing base to fall back on. No global tech giants headquartered here. No domestic pharmaceutical industry capable of large-scale production. We are rich in intellect, but poor in utilization. A country that grew a garden of mines and never learned to harvest it. Now, those minds are in the crosshairs. And there's no cake left for anyone, just crackers. And soon, not even those. A reckoning long. Delayed. The Canadian system didn't break recently. It was never built to support or reward talent in the first place. But the illusion could last as long as exports to America stayed steady. That era is over. If Canada wants to avoid a full collapse of its intellectual and economic infrastructure, it needs more than reconciliation or review panels. It needs a rebuild of its industries, of its expectations, and of its treatment of human capital. But time is short. The wave has already started crashing. And those who spent decades thinking they were safe aren't.